Hi everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. You know, I tried to go live on my desktop, but Facebook makes it so darn complicated. Anyway, I do have an eye on the page here. It's kind of right behind, so we can see if you have any questions. As I said in the description of it, there are over 29,000 views to last week's video, which was on fallen injury prevention, and I talked about home modification. So clearly this is a subject that is dear to the hearts of many. Now, I also understand that it can be quite a sensitive topic. People don't always want to admit to falling. It's just between you and me. No, I can't say that on a live. You know, if you post your question publicly, then it's something that others are going to see. But, you know, I encourage you to publish those questions, post them. Sorry, I'm just adjusting this a wee bit. There we go. I encourage you to submit questions if you do have any about fallen injury prevention. Put them in the comment box down below, and I will see them on my desktop back here. And I will do my best to answer them for you. It is vitally important that falls be prevented to the extent possible. It is not a normal part of aging to fall down. Many people think it is, and it just simply isn't. It is not. So I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to think there's nothing you can do. There is a lot you can do. And it's important that we all take those steps and do that. I'm taking the steps to do that myself. So, you know, I am following my own advice for sure. As people who have been longtime viewers of this page will know, coming up 3 years ago now, I guess it was, I sold my house because it was too big for me. It required too much care that I didn't feel I was able to manage going forward, and certainly wouldn't be able to in the years ahead. So, hi Jane, how are you? Nice to see you. So anyway, yeah, I sold that and I bought a condo. I actually live between two places. So my business owns a building in one town, and where I purchased a condo is in a town where my older daughter, her husband, and my brand new baby grandson live. I didn't want to be too far away from my grandchildren, and yet I wanted not to be on top of them. I don't want to live with my children. I don't want to burden them that way until I have to, I suppose. But that was my choice. So where my business is, I go there. As many of you, again, longtime viewers will know, I have a products-based business that is entirely fallen injury prevention related. It's called Brown Healthcare, so I will give you that disclaimer. I also made that disclaimer in the video last week. We have been for, gosh, the better part of 30 years, selling hip protectors, head protectors, wound care, some aids to daily living. So it was selling those hip protectors, which I don't manufacture. I'm the Canadian distributor for the hip protectors. There are no hip protectors made in Canada. They're all made outside of Canada. But I became the Canadian distributor. And you know, they have been tested, not by me, independently, and they are together with one other brand. They're very close, neck and neck. They're the top brand in the world. So I'm very glad about that. I'm delighted to be representing such a really good product. And we continue to represent it to the best of our ability, and they are widely used, generally prescribed by OTs, PTs, RN, the odd doctor. And generally that happens after somebody has had a fall. It's really hard to get people to do anything that is a little bit different before they have a fall. Preventative measures, really tough to get them to do that. I wish more people would. I definitely have hip protectors that I wear. I don't wear them all the time. So, you know, again, maybe I'm not quite taking my own advice, but then again, I'm not 80 either. and I do exercise regularly. I do pay a great deal of attention to my balance because that's something that is vitally important for all of us. Hi, Diane. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. For those of you who have joined us, whose name I haven't called out, I'm sorry, but they're coming up here on screen, and I see them that way. So if you've joined and your name hasn't popped up, I'm sorry. It's a Facebook thing. It's not a me thing. Anyway, yes. So we've been selling these hip protectors, and in talking to the family members, when I still answered the phones a great deal, I discovered that caregivers, family members, are really overwhelmed. Oh, first time, really? Yay! You know, I tend to do a lot of pre-recorded stuff these days because sometimes the information is a little dense and I want to make sure that I do it correctly. But, you know, if you guys like the actual lives and the chance to ask live questions and answers, I'm happy to do it. I really am happy to jump on and do that. So definitely let me know. Susan, hi. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so definitely let me know. And don't be shy about asking questions, but you don't have to either. You know, sometimes I'll just, if there are no questions, I'll just blither away, kind of like I'm doing now. So to get back to the story, I was answering the phones, which I don't do anymore because the business has grown. Occasionally I do, you know, if one of my staff members is ill or has something else to do and another person can't fill in, then I do answer the phone still. I do, though, talk to many of the customers independent of them placing any orders. Hi, Vicky. Thanks for joining. And in talking to family members, I found a lot of frustration with the healthcare system in general, for sure. But oftentimes when loved ones go into long-term or residential care of some kind, they're given this long list of stuff and they don't know what it is. They're told to go buy this stuff. The facility needs it. It can be daunting. I understand that. Hi, Vicky. It can be very daunting. And we don't want people to be overwhelmed. So that led me to create a blog. It doesn't exist anymore, so don't go there, but it's called myparentsareold.com. That's what it was called. Canada is a very broad country, but very small in terms of its healthcare. And it was pretty easy to get answers for family members to ask questions and for me to reach out to healthcare providers and get the answers for them. But that need even grew. And it led to, hi, Kenna. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I hope I am. Kenna, that's a beautiful name. That led to me creating The Oldish, which was a place where we could publish articles for people who are aging gracefully, let's put it that way, aging gracefully, who are caregivers, who are dealing with end-of-life issues, all kinds of issues. We publish about 6 days a week, and you can go to theoldish.com. We have some resources there. In the toolkit, there is a medication form that you can fill out and keep with you. And, you know, you can certainly do your own form, but if you don't have one or you don't know how to go about it, you can go to our form. Now, you have to be a member of the Oldish. It doesn't cost anything. It does require you to create a password. It's none of our business what medications you are taking. So we don't want to see them. We don't want other people to see them, hence the need for the password. So go create an account and you can, sorry, I was getting a little phone call there, turn that off. And you can download, well, it's not even a download. You fill it out online and then you can download it. You can email it, you can share it, or you can just leave it there and come back to it as you need it. So, you know, that's kind of an important piece. Your prescription medications are a really important piece. And that definitely feeds into falls. People who have medications that make them dizzy or woozy, blood pressure medication, a simple blood pressure medication that many people are on. I'm on it. but it can make you dizzy if you don't have exactly the right prescription. If you stand up too quickly, if you bend over and then stand up too quickly, I mean, there are all kinds of things that can cause us to fall. Anyway, back to the story. So sorry, I'm just removing messages here as they slide in. Hi, Annette. How are you? Thanks for joining. I continue to talk to our members. Sometimes it's comments that they make on our oldish Facebook page. Sometimes it's personal conversations. Sometimes it's conversations with friends of mine. So then I understood more clearly that people, of course, we know, people do not want to go into long-term care. People my age and younger, and people who are older, who are looking at their futures, they really didn't know what the future held, and they didn't want to go into long-term care. So what's the solution? Well, I started investigating, and it turns out that the houses we live in, let me see if I can pronounce this, Jintakarn and Gracie, hi, thank you for joining. I appreciate this. It turns out that our homes, the basic houses that we live in, the construction of these homes has not been modified since the 50s. Builders tend to build cookie cutter homes that all look the same and act the same, but these houses are working against us and against the needs that we have as we age. Now, here's a tip. That they work against us when we age is the same stuff that we work against if we are born with challenges, if we have traumatic events, and it could be a car crash, or it could just be a broken leg and we have to manage crutches in a cast for 6 weeks. It works against us when we are young mothers with toddlers and baby carriages and stuff that we've got to haul and get indoors and up steps. Oh my God, steps are the bane of our existence. We can have progressive diseases that develop as we get older. So multiple sclerosis is a disease that typically affects people who are much younger than I am. Hi, Dennis. Thanks for joining. And our houses are working against us all the time. We age into the need for houses to function differently as well. And so what does that total? It totals darn near 50% of the population. Darn near 50%. Can you imagine? And that doesn't even take into account caregivers who may look after us and need the houses to act differently. So when I talk about houses acting differently, yes, we're talking about stairs. We are also talking about bathrooms, toilets that are higher, counters and sinks that need to be lower, showers that we need to be able to get into without stepping over a curb, or for some of us, wheel into in a wheelchair. We know how to build this stuff. We really do. It's very common to have curbless or stepless showers in Europe. Now, I mean, the language piece is a whole other thing. These showers can be curbless, stepless, European showers. They are called all kinds of different names. It just means it doesn't have that little step that you have to step over from your bathroom floor to get into the shower. We know how to build showers that don't have that step. Why don't we do it? Builders aren't taught how to do it in college. They're just simply not. We as homeowners don't necessarily have the language to ask. And even when we do ask, we may be told by our contractor, renovator, or builder that that's not how things are done, that they don't do it that way, that this isn't technology, that it requires too many changes. It all boils down to they don't know how to do it. It's very simple. There are contractors who do know how to do it. These are colleagues of mine that I call on when a renovation is underway, because Yes, I get called to do that, to coordinate projects. I'm trained to do that. I have 2 certifications in home modification. I have one from the CLIP Institute. That's a certified living in place professional. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining. And I also have an executive certificate in home modification from the University of Southern California. Hi, Monica. Again, these certifications are not available in Canada. My understanding is that the USC certification is looking to come to Canada and be Canadianized. I've been asked to be on that committee. So at whatever point it materializes, I will be working with a group of people, including contractors who are trained in accessibility, to make that certification available. And then contractors can take it, occupational therapists can take it. Anybody who is involved with dealing with people who have physical challenges, hearing challenges, sight challenges, will be able to take that course. I'm doing another course next month, starts in June, from the Rick Hansen Foundation. That is a strictly Canadian foundation, and I have a number of colleagues who have taken the course and they say it's wonderful. So I'm going to do that because it teaches me more and allows me to bring more benefit to you by way of, hi Monica, by way of either these sorts of broadcasts or to my clients who hire me to consult on their home modifications. I get hired to coordinate projects for people. You know, very often somebody will have something happen, a car crash, let's just say a car crash. Something happens to them that affects their mobility. They do their hospital time. Hi, Monica. Thanks for writing hi in the comments. It affects their ability to go home and function normally. So very often, they will not be allowed to go home from the hospital or from rehab until changes are made to their home to allow for proper ingress and egress. So that is just a construction way of saying entry to the home and exit from the home. Hi, Barb. Thanks for joining. And that their bathrooms can function for them. If these people are in a wheelchair, hi Peter, if people are in a wheelchair, if they're using crutches, if they're using a mobility device, then changes often have to be made to the home in order to allow them to function. And independence is what it's all about. So, you know, these projects have to be coordinated because very often people don't know who to call. They're in a panic because they want to go home, but they don't know who to call. Contractors are busy up the wazoo. I have a good friend, she and her husband, she works at the hospital. He is a contractor and he's done a lot of renovations for me over the years when I owned my own home. And he is busy through the balance of this year and next year. I have another friend who uses him as a contractor who asked him about doing a project, and he assessed the project and said, that's great, yeah, I can do this, here's what I'll do, blah, blah, blah. Can't do it till December 2023. That is how busy contractors are these days. A lot of them are busy with people who want to make renovations to their home rather than moving because of the high cost of housing. For people who need to make changes to their homes in order to even get home, turn that off, to even be able to get home from the hospital, that puts them behind the 8 ball. Oh, there it is again. There, turn that off, decline. Sorry, people, sorry. You know, when you're on a Facebook Live, you don't have the ability to turn off all this other stuff. Which is unfortunate because, you know, the only thing I can do is put it on airplane mode, but that also restricts my ability to talk to you and be live. So we'll just put up with it. I'm sorry. Yeah, so they are crazy busy. People who do the kind of work that I do have access to contractors who understand accessibility. That's the space they work in. So they are available on a short turnaround, which is a blessing. It's not something that everybody has access to. I understand that. So we need to train and teach more contractor renovators about this stuff. So important for these courses to become available because the contractor renovators want to be able to do things in their own time, in their own homes. They don't want to have to go and do a course. There is a course called CCAPS. Canadian Certified Aging in Place Specialist. You can do that course. It's a 2.5 or 3.5 day course. I'm not even sure if they're running it again now after the pandemic, but they have to take time off work. And if for people who are busy until December of 2023, they can't take time off work. They don't want to, and why would they? They're making plenty of money right now. So, you know, it's challenging. It's challenging for people like you to get modifications done to your home. So I'm going to try over the course of time, as I have been doing over the last year or so, to give you as many tips and tricks as I can so that you can assess your homes yourself and make the changes that you have to make. It's that simple. There are a lot of changes that you can do on your own. Hi, Mihaela. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Thanks for joining. So, you know, if you watch my live from last week, that'd be great. As I said, there's a fire engine someplace. Over 29,000 people watched that video. So if you are not one of those 29,000 people, you can go back and have a look. And there are lots of tips and tricks in there that you can follow yourself. It's not a proper home assessment, but it's things you can do with regard to footwear and medication and moving clutter from your home and rearranging your kitchen. And, you know, there are other things that I'm doing on our website, which is called renostudios.com. You can go there. I'm just going to click on that. Renostudios.com is a place that I created that brings everything that I'm doing together in one place. The Oldish is there, which is a link to the site I told you about earlier, and as well as Brown Healthcare, which is my product-based. Hi, Peter. Thanks for joining the product-based company that I run. Real Life Renos is a video series that I created, and we've done 2 programs. I would encourage you to go watch it. The first one is with an accessibility strategist who has the Rick Hansen Foundation certification that I'm doing next month. And she was a consultant on a building project. And we went and shot at this build while they were building, when they finished, and when the tenants moved in. So you get to see it through the 3 stages. And it's pretty interesting, actually. And a lot of tips and tricks are given there. The second one we shot was with a 40-something former professional motorcycle racer. This guy's quite the daredevil, and he blew me away with all the things that he does. However, he was on his motorcycle on a major highway, not racing in any professional sense, but he was going quickly. He was doing 140 kilometers an hour, and he crashed into the back of a truck. He should not have lived. No way he should have lived. But he's been battling back, and he wants to be independent. Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining. He wants to be independent, and he had learned to do many things as his recovery progressed. He has learned to do many things. He lives in an apartment independently. He still has home care coming in on a daily basis, but he did learn how to go and get his own groceries. The apartment is sort of kitty corner to a grocery store. So he modified his wheelchair. He's got a bit of a mechanic's brain. So he showed us the modification. It's in the show that he did. It's an attachment that he puts on his wheelchair. Hi, Gary. Thanks for joining. Nice to have you all here. But the modification that was needed in that place was to his kitchen. And so it's an apartment that he rents. It's a very, very small space, just a corner kitchen in an open concept apartment. And we showed you the modification that the contractor did. And you get to meet the contractor, and we go through it all and have a description of the changes that were made, explain why they were made, and you can get a sense of what he needs. So he is in a wheelchair permanently the rest of his life. That is unlikely to change. So obviously things had to be lowered, but he is now able to prepare meals for himself. He can have company come in, which increases his social engagement, which for all of us is necessary. You know, lack of social engagement has been declared as dangerous to our health as cigarette smoking. I believe that was a university in Chicago that did the study on that and declared that to be so. And I can believe it. You know, people who are not socially engaged decline very quickly. It was a problem during the pandemic, and as we come out of it now, people are having some challenges kind of getting back in the thick of it. Anyway, you can see that. And there is an audio tab where you can look at and listen to podcasts that we created. Now, when I say look at or listen to, when I do a podcast, I video record it as well. So you can consume the information in whatever way makes you happy. There is a transcript. You can watch the video, or you can just listen to the podcast. We use Libsyn Podcasts so that all the podcasts are sent out to, as they say, wherever you get your podcasts. So Apple, what are the rest of them? Anyway, Spotify, they're all out there. Anyway, the podcast gets sent to all of them, and you can consume it any way that makes you happy. I tend to listen to podcasts a lot when I'm in my car, driving back and forth between, hi Margaret, thanks for joining, back and forth between the two places where I live, where my company is based, and where my grandson is. I listen to podcasts a lot. I listen to them while I'm cleaning. I listen to them while I'm out walking. The place I'm at now has a nature preserve and walking trails, and so I try to get out there when the weather is nice as often as possible and walk, and I listen to the podcasts. It's a great way to sort of relax and get some information. So if that is your pleasure, then you can watch the podcasts. So anyway, somebody is knocking at my door. That's very unusual. May I excuse myself for just a moment? Thank you, because I don't think they're going to go away.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, I'm just on a live broadcast, so thank you so much, Paul. Take care. Oh, it was a delivery. There we go. My new business cards. Yes, I'm not quite sure how they got in the building. The fellow must have gotten in the building on his own. Anyway, yeah. So, I'm not saying any questions here, but you can feel free to private message me. Like I said at the top, I know that it is a sensitive subject. The whole business of fall and injury prevention is a very sensitive subject. People don't necessarily want others to know that they're falling. I do talk to a lot of people who don't want their kids to know. And when I say kids, I mean adult children. They don't want their adult children to know because they're afraid that their adult children will make them move. Hi, Freya. How are you? Thanks for joining. They are afraid that their adult children will make them move. Will put them into long-term care. Will make them move in with them. If they have a single adult child, they're afraid that that child will take it upon themselves to move in with them. That the doctors will say something. I mean, it's a very emotional journey. Let me put it that way. So we don't want to compromise anybody's personal space. So if you have questions about fall and injury prevention, about modifications to your home, feel free to put them in the comments below, but you should also feel free to private message me. I do respect your privacy, and I won't compromise that on a live. With the clients that I deal with, I don't typically talk about them here. I talked about the people in the videos that we did because they're on video, and they signed something saying that we could show the videos, knowing full well that people would see them and see their circumstances. But it's different when it's just you. So anyway, I will leave you with that. Thank you so much to everyone who joined, and don't be shy. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.